Okay, hi, welcome. So, what we're doing this week, a little late on the Friday, right before full moon in Virgo, is we are doing Pisces. We're doing mutable signs next. So, the mutable signs, what mutable means is, well, there's three major aspects of the signs. So, we did all the fixed signs: the stubborn, opinionated, hard-headed, opinionated. Did I say opinionated already? Opinionated signs. Those are the ones with the strong opinions. So that would be me, Taurus on this end, and the person holding the phone on the other end, the Leo, the smiling Leo on the other end. So you'll realize that we did not kill each other in the last Leo thing, but had lots of fun. So the next one I would like to do is Pisces. It's the oldest of all the signs. Oh, let me back up for a minute. So mutables. So the mutable signs are the Gemini, the Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. And if I was trying to explain the three aspects of these signs, mutable, cardinal, and fixed, it would be like the cardinals are all the leaders and they are the beginning. They're the beginning of something. The mutables are the end. That's kind of like the Kali energy, where they're starting to break down. The fixed signs are the signs that maintain a solid maintenance, stubborn, fixed, solid maintenance. So the mutables are somewhat of the ending of the signs, that energy of ending, of breaking down, of changing and shifting into something else. Mutable signs are they can be flaky, they can be distracted, they can be very changeable positively, and we need that. That's really good for all those fixed heavy signs that don't like to change. So those fixed signs learn a lot from the mutable, and if you realize the way the chart goes, it's always the cardinal sign come first, then the fixed sign comes next, and then that mutable sign comes after that. So it's always in a row. Those three signs are always in a row. And we always learn from the sign behind us. It's always like that. So Pisces are the oldest sign in the zodiac, which means they're the element of water, and they're ruled by Neptune. So that's sort of like the king of the sea. And it also means that when something is underwater, you can't see it really clearly. It's all about dream and fantasy. It's just the cats in the background. And LA is very Piscean. So LA, for example, can have the positive and negative side of the city LA. One, it's the city of fantasies and dreams coming true for people. From all over the world, they come to be actors, actresses, to create stories, to be screenwriters, to be a part of that world, of bringing this other fantasy life into our life. And that's profoundly important because we learn a lot through movies and TV, sometimes even much more than the news itself, or even schooling, because we learn from what we see subconsciously. The negative side of that is the same thing. We're seeing things that aren't necessarily good for us, especially if you like things like horror movies, or if people are wanting to show you something that's rather dark, sort of like the whole burning of crosses first derived from someone's idea in a movie, and people took that on and started using that in the South in a very negative way. So another negative aspect of it can be that the land of LA, for example, can be very superficial. It can be very about what can I get and what can I get from someone else, rather than what can I give. And there's a great deal of drugs and alcohol. It's all over, of course. But there's a very seductive side to the artistic nature of an artist, to check out of reality and to start going into that way of experiencing their so-called art. You'll hear a lot about the past, that writers believed they were better writers as they drank. That's a very Piscean thing to say. Now, here's the interesting thing about our fishy friends. Because they are the oldest sign in the zodiac, they have an element of absolutely every sign in the zodiac. They have an ability to relate to every sign. They also don't have boundaries. They're boundless, which means that they are able to take on anyone's feelings around them without knowing it. They merge with everything. So someone can be around them and be in a very bad mood, and that Pisces is going to feel like they're in a bad mood. But that energy didn't originate from them. It originated from who was around them. And that's not a blame statement, because everyone gets in a bad mood. But the unfortunate side of being that open without those boundaries is that when someone else is in a different form of energy than you're in at that moment, that Pisces energy will pick it up and experience it. And it's not talked about, it's subconscious, it's not known. And if that Pisces doesn't have that realization that they're actually picking up other people's energy, they can feel bananas and they can take a lot of flack, because then the other person may not feel in a bad mood, or they may still, but they'll look at the Pisces who's now in a bad mood and say, why are you in a bad mood? So it can be a challenge to be a Pisces. There's no doubt it can be a challenge. It's considered the ancient sign of the zodiac. So because it has this ability, when they're unconscious of that ability, which happens a lot. I think crowds can be really hard for Pisces. They can get really lost in the energy of crowds. And this goes the same for a Pisces rising or a Pisces moon. They're going to have similar energy to this, similar experiences to this. One of the things that the Pisces sun, so to have a Pisces rising or a Pisces moon is going to be a bit more exalted than a Pisces sun. When you're in the Pisces sun, you're learning all about that, which means it's going to be most uncomfortable in the sun, which means it's harder to learn how to have those boundaries. One of the things that the Pisces experience a lot is addiction. So addiction to anything. It can be sex, drugs, alcohol, gambling, food. It doesn't matter what it is. An addiction is an addiction. And usually why we become addicted to something is because, especially for the Pisces, I'll speak just for them, is because we want to get out of the reality that we're currently in. We're not comfortable with the reality that's happening. And what we don't realize as human beings is that we can change our reality even right now without using a substance. But it takes a bit more work to be able to do that. You have to be conscious to do that. When you reach for something else, you're still in your unconsciousness, reaching for something else to change your experience of life. Drugs and alcohol are a really hard one for the Pisces. Now, the reason why that they may have this nature more than other signs to be addicted is because of that boundless nature, because they're able to experience such a vastness of being. And meanwhile, the world can be very mundane. And while the world can be mundane, they may not be able to follow that mundaneness. They may be experiencing so many other things that are unexplainable, and they want to be a part of what the world considers as normal. They want to feel that normalcy. And so they may grab something else to make them feel, it's going to sound odd, more grounded or more normal. Another thing that can happen with the Pisces, if you've seen it in other people, the Pisces can become hardened because of that vastness, because of that ephemeral, amazing nature to expand to such degrees. And because in our society, we don't know how to support that. And we are too unconscious of the fact that we're all walking universes. We're unconscious of that. We're learning more and more about it, but we are unconscious of it, so we don't support it. So these Pisces aren't taught their greatest gifts. Their greatest gifts are tremendous, of the fact that they're able to connect with all that is. But our society doesn't honor that, so they get reflected that back to them, so they try to reel themselves into the best of their abilities, plus that when they fly out too far, it can feel overwhelming and scary because nobody else is doing that and nobody else is supporting it. So they can also seem very hard. They can get very down to business, very brass tacks. try to do the mundane things. I have my beer, I watch my movies, I watch my football. This isn't all Pisces. This might be someone in my personal life I'm talking about. But business, not wanting to deal with emotions even. And some of the Pisces can't even help but to have the emotions flow through them. People can also feel very, Pisces have a really soft side, even when they are trying to be more mundane and hard asses, and they can achieve that, but they have a chink in their armor where they cannot help but when someone is suffering to feel that suffering, like as if it's them. That's the beautiful aspect of Pisces, is if someone is suffering, and it's true that we're all connected. We are all connected. We just don't realize it. Sort of like tree roots are all connected. And essentially, it's one organism altogether. The same with human beings, but we don't see that this way. We're very separated and me only. But the Pisces feel that. So if you're around a Pisces and your heart is breaking, that Pisces is going to feel that heartbreak. And they have a tenderness for humanity and our pain. And they're able to meet us, especially if they have more consciousness, to meet us and become a conduit to help people. Oh, it makes me want to cry when I say it out loud because I have a Pisces moon. When someone is going through pain and they're having a hard time with that pain, that Pisces aspect can help people move through that unprocessed emotion. And your friends can come to rely on you for that. Unconsciously, it's not so good because sometimes when we're unconscious, we just go towards where the energy is going to flow out of us quicker because we don't want to deal with that pain. And if that Pisces energy will be able to help us conduit that electricity, we will use that. And if it's unconscious, it doesn't benefit either because both parties can be harmed by it and it can cause a lot of problems. But if it's consciously used, it can be like a midwife for other people's issues and feelings. I think that's really all I have to say about Pisces right now. There's probably much more, but I think that's all we have time for. So if you know some Pisces people, show up for them and give them love and support. See how you can be of service to them because they are a great service to all of us, consciously or unconsciously. Okay, that's me.